here, they have a stand here doing fantastic work. We also have the Cavan community education there, and all the stands here as well. And it's great to find all this information under the one roof. We also have in Garda Síochána, they have a stand here, which I think is fantastic, and it's great for people to be able to just come over and see what's available. And people want to do fantastic work as well. Ladies, lovely meeting you. Thank you very much. And we'll be talking to some of these people later on as well. We have Owen McConnell here from the Citizens Information as well, which I think is fantastic help to anybody within.
We're here to talk about Cavan and what's happening in relation to older people in Cavan. Well, there's quite a lot happening. The Older People's Council have been pretty active, and if you have a look at the charts on the screens there, you'll see all the organisations that we are involved in and the organisations who are involved in the Older Persons Council. So you can see we have our tentacles into nearly everything that's happening in Cavan. I think the only place we're not represented is in the council chamber. But then we have a lot of friends in the council chamber, so we don't need to be represented there. So here I go, Cavan Council, Fergal Curtin. So I'd like to ask Fergal now to come to the podium and address you. Fergal Curtin.
Thank you very much, Bob. I'm very pleased to welcome you all here today to the annual general meeting of Cavan Older People's Council. It is gratifying to see you all here and engaged in very important work in making Cavan a great county for older people. Older People's Councils are extremely important as a recognised structure for communicating with the representing of older people across the county. The Cavan OPC has, since it was set up, regularly consulted with older people using a variety of formats, such as workshops, meetings, surveys, and other research. This information is used to direct the work of the OPC and inform the services delivered by other organisations. The Older People Council represents the voice of older people at the Age Friendly Alliance. Their role is to guide and advise the Alliance members about how age-friendly actions should be delivered and help. The work of Older People's Council includes identifying issues that affect older people, monitoring the strategy, making submissions, and delivering projects. As an elected member, I recognise the strength of networks such as this forum and the opportunity for debate and discussion that go hand in hand with people coming together with a shared vision.
So please welcome, to give us an overview of the national picture. Please welcome Catherine McGuigan.
Thank you, Bob, and welcome everybody. It's great to be here. I'm going to reflect, I suppose, on two things that Bob said. It's interesting to see on the previous slide that we had all these bodies that Cavan is represented on. It's one of the, I suppose, front-runner counties in that respect with representation on the LCDC and the JPC, but you'd mentioned about Cavan County Council, and I suppose by virtue of the fact that Madeline is on the actual alliance, the voice of older people is represented in that way. And I think it's important to, I suppose, acknowledge the work of all the councillors and the elected representatives. Indeed, at national level, we've done a lot of work with the AILG to make sure that the political representatives are, I suppose, taking our baton forward. And by signing the Dublin Declaration, I suppose the elected representatives have really been stellar. So thanks to both Madeline and Fergal on behalf of political representatives to the Age Friendly programme at both local and national level. And the interesting thing about the ageism, Bob, is when you say, I suppose when I started 7 years ago working on the age-friendly programme, you know, combating ageism was one of the agendas that we wanted to look at, because I suppose from the perspective of we want our younger generations to be ready and prepared for the ageing process and the implications and the challenges, but also the opportunities. And I'm seeing that abating a little, but my mother is 81 in 4 weeks' time, and she works 3 days a week. She's gone back to work after having open heart surgery before Christmas, and very, very active woman. And the people that come into the shop that say to her, you know, Jesus, would you not be retiring or give that job to a younger person, are generally older people. So I completely correlate with that. That is, she would hear mostly ageist remarks from older people themselves. So maybe that's something that we need to think about. It's not necessarily coming from the younger generation, and maybe that's because older people have been brought up to believe that themselves. So it's an interesting analogy and one that we can certainly work on.
We have very capable Cavan.
My name is Emer, and I'm the Age-Friendly Programme Manager with Cavan County Council, and it is my pleasure to work alongside Cavan Old Persons Council and Cavan Age-Friendly Alliance. So just open my presentation here. Okay, here we go. So the presentation today just has 3 sections really, and I won't delay you too long, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about what age-friendly means here at Cavan and what we understand by it. We're going to look back on our first strategy, which ran over 3 years between 2013 and 2016. I really just give you the highlights. There was so much activity in it and so many projects delivered and different initiatives and publications and everything. I won't go into detail on everything, but I'll just give you some of the key highlights and some of the projects that we're particularly proud of. I'll talk a little bit about the Healthy and Positive Ageing Initiative, the Cavan Findings Report, again to give you the key headline data from that report, and we're launching that today. And I know Bob said that the actual data collection was done 2 years ago, but the report took a while to compile, so it only became available to us last year, and this is a great opportunity to launch it here today with so many people present. And then the final section of the presentation, then I'm going to talk about our new strategy, which we're also launching today, and will give you the main areas of work that we hope to focus on over the next 3 years.
We come to the launch of the strategy which Emer has just outlined. And to perform that function, we have the Deputy Chair of the Cavan Age-Friendly Alliance, Owen Doyle. Please welcome Owen Doyle.
Thank you, Bob. I'm very tall. Our some of the speakers are maybe not as tall as I. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cathaoirleach of Cavan County Council, Chair of the Forum, Councillor Argue, former Councillor Brady, elect ladies and gentlemen, can I first of all just state how delighted I am to be here today. How sincerely I wish well the work of the Forum and the work that you have done over the last few years. In stating that, I just wanted to clarify that I'll be quite brief. I just want to refer to the Healthy and Positive Ageing Initiative, our new county age friendly strategy, which is to be launched here today. I think it's a statement of fact that we live in a time of great change, and I think if any of you had thought back a year and a half ago that we'd be looking at maybe fracturing our relationship with the country beside us, and we'd be looking with some confusion at the leadership of a country with great connections with, we wouldn't quite believe it. But there is, this change is a constant, and change is very much a factor in the work of this particular strategy. The demography of this country has changed very significantly, and it's quite clear over the coming years we'll have increasing numbers of older people with their own distinct needs. And in that regard, what our strategy is trying to do is to identify what those changes will be and to adapt to them as reasonably as we possibly can. In that regard, the Hi-Fi study was particularly relevant. It's an effort to identify what the emerging needs of older people in Cavan are, and it's recognition on our behalf that as a lead agency we don't have up-to-date information. So as Emer was saying, the idea of capturing the needs of 500 people randomly selected. There weren't people that we picked to tell us what we wanted to hear. These were Cavan people interspersed throughout the county, asking them to give us their views. It's a very worthwhile and realistic thing for us to be involved in. The results for Cavan do paint a positive picture, as Emer has stated, and I think she's accentuated the positive parts of that. We're very open to criticism and we're very open to constructive feedback as part of that. And the comments which were made in relation to infrastructure, for example, are particularly relevant. As a local authority, we would say over the last number of years we had very significant reductions in our infrastructure budgets. I think the roads and footpaths, for example, the budgets have gone down by nearly 70%. But hopefully with some economic development, those budgets will increase, and that will give us an opportunity maybe to deal with that particular complaint as it is arising. There are several others, and we intend to lead change through agencies who are involved in those areas, and if there are particular issues that we can deal with, we'll try to do so as well. The new age-friendly strategy is, we're glad to say, a front-runner in the overall age-friendly initiative. Back in 2013, the local authority under the leadership of Jack Keys, our Chief Executive, was to the forefront in adopting its strategy, and this particular one that we're talking about today is a movement on with that, and is a clear statement of commitment to working with the Forum in years to come. Our partners in the Alliance include Garda Síochána, the Cavan Monaghan Education Training Board, the Health Service Executive, the Gaelic Cadet Association, the Older People's Council, the Network Centre into Adult Institution of Technology. We do formally welcome the Chamber of Commerce. They were always participated, but are now formally represented on the forum. And the Cavan Monaghan Transport Coordination Unit. I would feel what they are now doing in the town, connecting the town and people coming into it, is a very significant step forward, and we strongly encourage people to use it. In listening to Emer's very interesting presentation there, I was struck by a number of things. One was the intergenerational work which he's proposing, and my mind was taken back to Monsignor Horan in Mayo, that you all remember, and when he wasn't building airports on the side of mountains without planning permission, and asking for, forgiveness rather than permission. He was involved in bringing together housing initiatives which brought older people and younger families together. I think he saw the uniqueness of the connection between young people and older people. I think it's a wonderful idea. It's wonderfully learning for teenagers who are involved in working with older people. It's a great experience for them, as I'm sure it is the other way. I think the initiative that the GEA took here recently in relation to the Kerry Cavan match, where older people from each of the clubs were brought into Cavan. They were looked after here in the hotel, brought in and given VIP treatment in the county grounds. It was a fabulous statement by them and great recognition by them of their social role. As I said earlier, accessibility and design. We accept any criticisms which may be there in relation to our own role. We'll try to deal with those in the future. In conclusion, could I say that Cavan County Council are proud to be involved so closely with this strategy. We're very proud of the work which we've done. We look forward to much greater achievement in the future. I would recommend that each of you take a copy of the strategy home. For those of you who are involved in community groups, maybe bring it to them and just bring it to the attention of the people who are involved with it. And it would be entirely remiss of me before I finish without thanking a number of people. Dr. Eamon Coveney from our own office here, who's very much the driver internally in Cavan County Council, as is Gráinne Boyle, who couldn't be here today. I do want to recognise the elected members of Cavan County Council because in times of major economic cutbacks, they didn't cut resources for initiatives like this. They could have very easily done, but they didn't do so because they had faith in it. I want to congratulate Catherine Wigan. I understand she's moved up in the world in relation to positions and it's richly deserved, and to recognise the support that she's given us over the years. But in particular, to thank you, the members of the Alliance, for your commitment and support. Thank you for sticking with it, and we look forward to working with you in the coming years. Thank you very much.
of John B. Keane's most famous plays. It was about emigration and the curse of emigration and what emigration did to the countryside. But I'm just going to do a very short piece from that. It's a mountainy farmer called Daithín Timonín Dean, who has two sons in their early, probably around 15 years of age, heading off to London. And he's giving them a bit of advice for their trip. You know what's before you now? Your brother Pagine is over there now, and he has a great job for the two of you. So you'll be starting Monday morning. Now put down your heads and work hard. And say yes sir to everyone that says hello. And on a Friday when you get your wages, don't forget to send a £5 home to your mother. And don't forget on a Friday, there's no egg, mate or black pudding. You'll see many strange things over there. There'll be tricksters and trick-of-the-loop men and gangsters and three-card trick men on every corner trying to entice your money away from you. But hold on to it tight. And you'll see doe-eyed doxies painted to the gills and exposing the fair amounts of tie to entice young fellas away from their religion. And now don't forget your 3 Hail Marys for holy purity every night. And don't forget your £5 for your mother every Friday. And I tell you something, you'd better tell your brothers, there's Pagine and there's Joe and there's me, that young Lil is for confirmation this year, and they better send home a bit of money for the mother to buy some clothes for her. So God be with you now, and don't forget again, don't forget your mother's driver on a Friday, and no bread made or black pudding. And don't forget your 3 Hail Marys for holy purity.
Found my friend on Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry Hill. That's where I found you. Oh, the blue still stays on
Yep. And now I have to say goodbye to the best friend I've ever known. The years have sadly passed him by, now God has called him home. The times we shared together, as we laughed and sang and played, just remember, my old friend, you're just a thought away. When I think back to how we met so many years ago, on all the good times that we had, and how the beer flowed, telling stories at the bar, the violin far away. Just remember, my old friend, you're just a thought away. You're just a thought away from me. You're just a thought away. And I just thought I'd like to say, you're just a thought away. I see you struggle now, my friend, so tired and so afraid. I wish that I could ease your pain and make it all go away. You've been a special friend to me, and I can only say, just remember, my old friend, you're just a thought away. You're just a thought away from me. You're just a thought away. And I just thought I'd like to say, you're just a thought away. And now your journey has begun, a new road just ahead. You know that I'll think of you each night before my bed. And I will travel down that road and meet you there someday. Just remember, my old friend, you're just a thought away. You're just a thought away from me. You're just a thought away. And I just thought I'd like to say, you're just a thought away. And I just thought I'd like to say, you're just a thought away.
Remember the dear dark days beyond recall, when on the world a mist began to fall, out of a dream that blooms in happy throng. Lo, to our heart love sang an old sweet song, and in the dark beneath the firelight gleam, softly it wove itself into our dream. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the way be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song. Even today you hear the song of yore, deep in your hearts it dwells forevermore. Footsteps may fall till weary grows the way, still we remember at the close of day. So till the end, when life's sweet song is o'er, love still remains the sweetest song of all. Help me. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the way be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song.
Good afternoon, everybody, and we're here in the Hotel Kilmore there, and we're talking to Bob Gilbert. Bob, I'm delighted to see that you're re-elected back in here today onto the committee again.
I was.
Holding your position?
I'm automatically re-elected because I'm
Excellent.
the outgoing chair, but still have to be chairs, etc., won't be elected until the new committee meeting. But I intend to stand again for the chair for another 2 years.
And you're doing a great job, all right?
Well, nothing is so great that it couldn't be better. There's always room for improvement, and that's why I think that the All the People's Council is so effective, because we're always looking to improve. We're always looking to do things better. We're looking for. We're also, the fact that we're involved nationally with other counties, we can look at what other counties are doing and see if they're doing them better than us, or seeing if they're also can work the other way around, that they can look at things we're doing and see how they can copy them. And like I keep saying to people, it's not a race to see which is the first age-friendly county. It's a race to get Ireland age-friendly. And if we can bring the counties who are only starting or lagging behind up to the same level, same pitch, then we're really achieving something, because we're getting towards creating an age-friendly society in Ireland. And I think that's I suppose the ultimate goal. Whether we'll see it in our lifetime or not, I don't know. But we have children and grandchildren coming along. And like if someone 30 years ago had taken this initiative, maybe Ireland would be a better place for all the people now.
Well, you have to keep striving all the time.
Oh yes, yeah. And there's still so much to be done. There's still so much to do. Like we have a lot of, I suppose, negativity around all the people still out there. That, as I said in my speech there today, that they're still perceived as being grumpy, wrinklies, and all the other words that can be. Well, that is a perception that's out there. And I was had the opportunity to talk to a group of transition year students at one stage, and we were talking about their perceptions of older people, and they used all of these kind of words and phrases to describe older people. And I said, what about, are your nanas and granddads still alive? And they said, oh yes. I said, would you describe them that way? Oh no, they're
So that changed the perception a bit.
Well, so I said, well, most older people are the same as your nanas and granddads. We're all nanas and granddads. And that they saw it in a totally different light. Like they were looking at, I suppose, older people from maybe some of the media perceptions, and particularly those programs kind of on television, grumpy old men and grumpy old women, and that's not who we are.
That perception needs to change out there.
Yes.
And up the media need to bring that about.
Yeah, and like we go back to the time of the pension protests, yes. Right? There was a professor in Trinity, I think it was, went through all the articles that were written in the papers, and 70% of them gave a negative perception of older people. From the Blue Rinse Brigade to Wrinklies to whatever, so that has got to change.
Never realising that they'll be there themselves someday, which comes around very quickly.
Yeah, and like the other thing too is that you see signs outside nursing homes of two people bent over like this.
That's correct, and that needs to change as well.
I guess the question is, how many older people do we know that are bent over like that? And there's not many.
No, and yourselves as a group there, and actually I'm delighted, there's new blood or new people brought into the election there today, which will hoping to bring new change on things. Can those signs or anybody get on to anybody where the like of that perception can change?
Well, we're hoping that maybe, certainly I would hope to see the fact that, no new nursing home will ever be allowed to put up a sign like that, and that the existing signs will be taken down. It's I'm not sure whether the signs are owned by the council or the nursing homes. I'm sure if they're owned by the council, they'd be down by now, because I have raised this issue with the council on a number of occasions. So it's it's obviously the ownership of them is in the nursing homes.
And would that to be even the public nursing homes, like, you know, you could even actually maybe get in contact with some of the more managers and people of those that maybe that some change can be brought about for that.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing I'd love to see, again, talking about health service nursing homes, we're talking about doing a walkability study of Cavan Hospital, Cavan General Hospital, to see, look at, you know, are all areas of the hospital accessible to people with mobility problems? What's the signage like in it? Is it legible? Can, you know, people with maybe impaired vision, can they be read by those people? You know, so also we'll be doing a study outside the hospital as well as inside it. Look at the possibility of reserved parking spaces for older people and that sort of thing, which they have done successfully in Beaumont.
Yes, and that could be rightly so looked at here, not alone in Cavan, but in other areas.
Oh yeah, all other hospitals, yeah. And like, it's great now that this new bus link can actually drive up straight to the door of Cavan Hospital, whereas before that, you know, the public bus service dropped them at the entrance to the hospital, and if you have a mobility problem, it's a long walk into the hospital complex from the road.
Yeah, I know that bus link is a fabulous service, and it covers all the locality, towns and villages from with a number of kilometres around, bringing people directly into town, whether they be shopping or to the hospitals.
Yeah, it's a tremendous service, and the only thing I would say to people is use it, because if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So, you know, people have got to use it, and I think the usage is increasing. You know, and that's something we have had on our agenda for a long time. Was a shuttle bus service within Cavan. It was one of the things that came up on one of the studies we did, that people from one side of Cavan who didn't have cars or whatever had difficulty getting to the other side. And you particularly think of, say, the north side of Cavan, getting to the likes of Woody's and Aldi and Lidl, you know. That.
And it's fantastic for people like that, because it's so important for people here to get there. I have to congratulate Nick, you know, Cavan County Council for even hosting this event here today, because, you know, they are a major force behind the thing.
Oh, Cavan County Council. I actually recall the first day I went to Jack Keys and mooted this idea with him. And what he said to me was, come back to me. He says, do some surveys, do some studies and come back to me. So we went out and did surveys, and we picked on Kilnalek and Killashandra. We did surveys in them because we reckoned that whatever came up there could be replicated in most of the other areas. So based on that, Jack, I knew from the very off that Jack was 100% behind it.
On board all the way, yes.
Yeah, and I suppose we had a bit of a head start, because a lot of work was done over the Flas for particularly on access to buildings, and you know, that helped Cavan. And I suppose the other thing too is it was when we mooted the idea of age-friendly shopping, the Chamber of Commerce came on board immediately, and their backing, and in actual fact, the Chambers Ireland, the governing body for the Chambers of Commerce in Ireland, are fully behind the age-friendly shopping. And the one organisation that I would love to get behind it is An Post. Because the queues in post office where people might be standing for half an hour, and we have suggested to An Post that they put in seating and bring in a ticketing system.
Yes, that would be a good.
And their response was that they did a pilot on that in Swords, and it didn't work out. Well, I know Swords, and I know the fact that I lived there for over 30 years, and it's got a large population of young families. And mothers going in with the children, they put the children sitting on the seats, and you know, the older people don't get an opportunity to sit in the seats. And also, on post said it didn't work out. Well, I challenged them to try it out in Cavan to see would it work. So far, they haven't taken the bait, but I would like to see them
keep
try
trying.
it.
You will keep trying. Yes. Oh yeah, and that's what you need to do, is you need to come at them until you get a definitive answer from them.
Yes,
Yes. I have to say, I was speaking to Eva Coveney there earlier on too, and a great lady and fantastic work that she's doing in the background there too.
Oh, Emer, you know, Emer
Coveney.
is the mainstay behind all of this. She's the one who's, well, I won't say is driving it, but she's certainly she's the person who is, I suppose, making a lot of things happen.
Yeah.
In fact, it was actually Emer was the first person in Cavan County Council that I approached with the idea, and she set up the meeting with Jack Keys.
She's a key person.
The Emer is a key person, not only in Cavan, but Emer is actually has a national involvement as well. So,
and that's fantastic, because
you know,
she sees the bigger picture.
And you need to see the bigger picture. Like it's like you can't be insular in something like this. You have to look at what's happening out there, what's available, what's others are doing. And we're also very lucky in that the current Minister for Older People is very committed to the age-friendly as well. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that the next Taoiseach leaves her where she is, because
she'll be a great mainstay and a great support to the older people as well too. Yes.
Yeah, for a young lady, she has a great grasp of her brief for older people.
And that's what you need. You need people like that. You need people like that. I know, it's fantastic. And I know, like, our time is short now and heading on, but Bob, I'm delighted to be talking to you here today, and you're doing fantastic work, and I wish yourself and the new committee there all the best over the next 2 years, well, because I have no doubt you'll do fantastic work, as you have been doing all along, and it's great to see all this happening.
Thanks, Seamus, and I have to say that I'm extremely delighted to see that Positive Age are on board with us, and we're working together, because I think for a while there was a misconception out there that we were both pulling in opposite directions or something. But you know, we're all going down the same road. We all have the same objective. We all have you know, the future of older people in Cavan, and making Cavan the best place in Ireland to grow old in.
And I know for myself as well, too, and I am on the committee with Positive Age, like along with Francie Callan and Brian and Maisie as well, all those people out there, and Margaret as well too, that we're all working together, and our end goal is to make people's lives an awful lot better, which is the most important thing at the end of the day.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. If we can make even a little change that makes people's lives better, then we have achieved something. But I'm not content with a little change. I want to see a lot of change.
That's what I like to hear. Yes.
And I think we have achieved a lot of change, but there's still a lot of changes to be made. And please God, we'll live to see them.
And we definitely will. Yes. But on that note, anyway, Bob, it's great talking to you. Thank you again for taking time. And we will talk again. And we will be working very closely with you from Positive Age End. And everybody, it's great to see such a community spirit here today as well, too. And all the various bodies that support in the background.
It is. And it was great. It was a great thing for the people attending here to just look at the organisations that we work with.
Yes.
They were all around.
All
the room,
around.
yeah.
I noticed that today, and it was fantastic.
Yes. You know, so, like, you know, too often people get a misconception about a committee, that it's a kind of meet and discuss and maybe decide to do something, but they don't realise that really to achieve anything you have to involve yourself with a lot of other organisations, a lot of other groups.
Oh yeah, it's everybody working together.
Yes, yeah. There's no such thing as standing alone in this business.
No. I know you have to work together as we're individual groups, but we all put our bits and pieces together and make things better for people.
Exactly, yeah, and that's how it should be.
Anyway, thank you again, anyway. And this is Seamus Quinn for Irish Web TV. We're speaking to one of the key people here, Dr. Emer Cavan. Emer, thank you very much for coming on board here anyway. It's great having you on board, and great to have a person like you that's with the council as well too, that can bring so much to the people as well. Maybe you can explain a wee bit more about everything that's happening here today.
Okay, well, the Older People's Council is part of our Age Friendly Alliance, and I suppose the Age Friendly programme in County Cavan is really about trying to improve the built environment and services and quality of life for older people. The whole reason behind doing Age Friendly is because we are facing a huge population challenge. In the coming years, there's going to be a massive increase in the number of older people living in our population. This is an international trend, and in Ireland, we have signed up to the World Health Organization Age Friendly Cities and Communities programme, and local authorities have signed up as key players in delivering strategies at county level for this. So the Older People's Council is a really important part of this whole process because they are the voice of older people and they represent older people across the county. They're elected biannually. We have a formal day like this every 2 years where we explain what we've been doing with our Age Friendly programme, and we invite people onto an executive committee, and they really drive it for us in terms of advising the Alliance members on how we should be delivering services and activities. The Alliance members would include the main state agencies such as the ETB, the Council, the HSE and the Gardaí, and we also have very good partners in the GAA and would work closely with the Chamber of Commerce, Positive Age and CAMCAS and organisations such as that as well. So there's a whole network and a partnership approach to trying to change how we design and deliver services and design and plan our environment for to bear in mind the needs of older people. So it's really about future-proofing our communities and building sustainable communities for everyone, because we're all ageing, we're all living longer, people are living healthier lives, and we want to be able to enjoy our lives as we age and not find that we face barriers when we hit a certain age. So it'll try to remove some of those barriers and make sure that we can all be included.
I've been looking around here today, and that from the Gardaí to all the other services provided within the county as well, and they're absolutely fantastic. And a lot of people wouldn't be aware that there are so many things within the county, and I'm quite sure throughout Ireland as well too. And it's great to have it, and we're here, like, you know, through Irish Web TV to actually bring that message throughout not only the county but spread it out to the world that this is what we're doing here in Cavan as well. And people like yourself there, and I have to take on board, have the Cavan County Council there, they're doing fantastic work. Everyone here are doing, Bob as well too, all the people, fantastic work for old people.
Yes, absolutely. There's so many people that are really committed, and that was one of the key challenges when we started this whole process, is that older people said they weren't getting enough information. And, you know, the trend for maybe some of the public sector agencies is now to say it's on a website, check it out yourselves kind of thing. But we want to get away from that, and, you know, we use things like paper newsletters, and we use a lot of events and information days and things like that, because that information and communication challenge was one of the critical things for working with older people, because especially in a Cavan like county that's rural and broadband isn't available everywhere, and then some older people are very au fait with Facebook and all of that, but other people aren't. So you need to deliver information in a way that you can reach everyone with. So
I know when you just hit on one subject there would be close to my heart there is rural broadband as well too, because an awful lot of the agents, whether it be with the local authorities or with the government as well, you're asked to actually reply back via email and that type of thing. And do you see anything coming up there for that with regard to people, like, you know, because they're doing away with paperwork and then letting people deal with it, so they have to go back to younger people to try and get. I know a lot of people are actually fairly au fait now with the broadband system, but anything new that would be coming up that you see that would help people out in that regard?
Well, I suppose, I mean, like in the council, we would certainly have telephone, you know, we would have people, you know, that would go out, you know, depending on the service that you're looking for, you can arrange one-to-one meetings and one-to-one interviews. We have a customer service room, so if somebody wants to come in and arrange a one-to-one appointment and sit down, there are staff available to help. So it doesn't have to be through email communication. We'd have a range of options. The other thing we try to do is, although we did set up a Cavan Age Friendly website, but because not everyone knows how to use the web, we went around and did demonstrations of this with older people's groups, kind of trying to sit down with people and show them how it works and make it available through their community centre, that, you know, that they can go into their social services group and use the website through there. It doesn't have to be just from their home and that. And then I suppose other initiatives in terms of web and broadband, like the Bank of Ireland would have come and met our Older People's Council, and, you know, the banking is changing, and I know older people and a lot of people are kind of resistant to the idea that there aren't going to be as many banks and there aren't going to be as many people working in banks, but the bank is trying, I suppose, to they did come and meet the Old People's Council, and they offer to provide training so that people can do internet banking more easily and that. So they are putting some supports in place that probably can't go back to the way it used to be, but we can certainly help older people maybe keep up with the pace of how things are changing.
Would it be possible that maybe the banks, and particularly big organisations, that would maybe put some funding in to actually help run courses there for people? Like, what we do now within Positive Age, we have courses and bring people in to actually teach people the internet, and it would be a fantastic idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, you certainly could approach them for sponsorship. I know they've met with us a few times. Bank of Ireland is also going to be running an enterprise town, and they want to have an age-friendly focus. They'll be running that later on this year, but they've already been in to meet us, and they have one of our Older People's Council reps on their steering committee for that. So it will have an age-friendly focus, and it's something we can certainly talk to them about. But yeah, I could imagine that it might be something they'd be interested in. I guess we'd have to talk to the individual banks around that. Yeah.
And I know another subject as well too. Access into buildings and that there. And we've Positive Age, we've travelled, and I'm just listening on that particular. We've travelled quite a bit of the Europe and the world as well, and we find that coming back to our own county, Cavan, has done absolutely brilliant work here within Cavan and other areas around for access in with people with wheelchairs and walking aids and various things, or people just walking into areas and on the streets.
Yeah, we get really good feedback in Cavan, but we've been lucky, and again, it's down to having volunteers. We've had an awful lot of people involved through a kind of a disability network. We've a Cavan Disability Network at the moment, and there would have been another incarnation of it, the Cavan Access Association, that would have been advising the local authority over many years when we would have had funding through the disability strategy to make changes in that. We have a dedicated access officer, and he meets with the Disability Network regularly. So if they identify particular issues around footpaths, or the need for a dished pavement or something, that he can address that. So we would do things like access audits and walkability audits and that, but it's a continual process. We know we're not not 100% yet, but we're working in the right direction.
It all takes time. It all takes time. And I know today now there's a fabulous committee there elected now for the next 2 years, and they will all feed back into that from each group.
And it covers the whole of the county, like each municipal district area is covered. So, and it's great. We've new members come on today, which is great, and we have some members returning who've been on it for the last few years. So, it would just be lovely to work with them and help to deliver the services that they need in the local areas.
Well, look, thank you very much for coming and joining us here today. And ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having Dr. Ian McCovney with us here today, and she's an inspiration to the whole group and committee here, everything that she's doing, and driving force behind everything as well there. But thank you very much, Ian, for joining us here today. It's been a pleasure, and look, I wish you all the best with your work for now and into the future as well, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you very much.